Good afternoon, everybody. It's high noon in Old Cheyenne, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you take roll, please?
Mr. Laybourne.
Here.
Dr. Rennie.
Present.
Mr. Roybal.
Present.
Mr. Seagrave.
Present.
Mr. White.
Present.
Dr. Aldridge. Present. Mayor Collins.
Present.
Mr. Cook.
Here.
Mr. Escabel.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Present.
Must be on Zoom, Mayor, so all members are present. We do have a quorum.
Great. If you didn't join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is number 4, consent agenda. All items listed with the designation of CA are considered to be routine items by the governing body and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a member of the governing body so requests and support by 2 other members is received. Any item removed from the consent agenda will be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda.
All right. Is there an item or any items a member of the governing body would like to remove from the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Dr. Rennie.
I'd like to hear more about 20B. Concur.
We have removed 20, B as in Baker.
Bravo.
Anybody else? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Seagrave, followed by Dr. Aldridge. All those in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. The consent agenda is approved with item 20B removed.
Next item is number 6, ordinance on 3rd reading, creating chapter 8.68, camping in public places of Title 8, Health and Safety of the Municipal Code of the City of Cheyenne, Wyoming, prohibiting the act of camping on public property as specified.
All right, we have before us an ordinance to limit camping along the Crow Creek and the Greenway. We've had a lot of discussion on this, and so we'll open it to public discussion, but we're going to limit that to 3 minutes, please. So if there's anybody who wants to speak to this item, please come forward. All right, hearing none. Mr. Cook.
Mr. Mayor, the recommendation of the Public Services Committee is to approve on 3rd and final reading, and I so move.
Seconded by Mr. Seagrave. Comments from members of the governing body.
Mr. Oh, go ahead.
Comments? Mr. Cook, did you have comments?
No, I need, there's a substitute I need to.
Well, let's bring that up, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I was hoping so. Mr. Mayor, I move to amend by substitute dated July 17th, 2023.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Laybourne. The substitute changes the ordinance just a little bit from an absolute ban on camping to a curfew from midnight to 5 in the morning. Are there any comments from members of the public? Hearing none, how about from the governing body? Hearing
Mayor.
Mr. Laybourne.
Well, we've heard a lot about this as a problem, but I want to assure you that before too long, we're going to be going over to that area and it's not going to be a problem. It's going to be an asset. And you'll be able to see what the neighborhood, when it gets together, can accomplish. And I think that we are well on our way, and it's definitely a positive. And I think that the substitute clearly deals with issues that were raised in as we went through this, and it really has taken it to the point that police crew nuisance understands. And so we're very excited about getting to work over there and making it what it can be. Thank you.
We're on the substitute. Is there anybody else in the governing body? Hearing none, all those in favor of the substitute, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
The substitute is approved with Mr. Johnson voting no. We're back on the main motion. Comments for members of the governing body.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Aldridge.
Mayor Collins, through you. I just wanted to say, I really appreciate the involvement of the neighborhood in taking care of this and bringing it forward, and Councilman Laybourne, who's worked in that area. I know Councilman Johnson and Councilman White and others have done community cleanups there. And I just think that this is hopefully a good resolution to remedying the health and safety of that creek area, getting that greenway space turned back over to people that can use it and feel safe using it as we move forward. So I appreciate all the hard work.
Anyone else in the governing body? All right, hearing none. Madam Clerk, would you call the vote?
Mr. Johnson,
No.
Mr. Laborn,
Yes.
Dr. Rennie,
Yes.
Mr. Royball,
Yes.
Mr. Seagrave,
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes.
Dr. Aldridge,
Yes.
Mayor Collins.
Yes.
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Escabel.
Yes. The ordinance is approved on third and final reading as amended.
Next item is number 7, ordinance on second reading, amending the official zoning map of the city of Cheyenne, changing the zoning classification from HI heavy industrial, AG agricultural, and county A2 to LI light industrial for land located west of Burlington Trail and south of and adjacent to HR Ranch Road.
All right, this is a zone change to make that zoned area a light industrial to support Leeds' effort to expand their business park for a data center development. Is there anybody in the audience like to speak to this effort? All right, hearing none. Mr. Cook.
Mr. Mayor, the recommendation of the Public Services Committee is to approve on second reading, and I so move.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Aldridge. Are there any comments from members of the governing body? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed. The ordinance is approved on second reading.
Next item is number 8. Ordinance on first reading, defining the terms and conditions of employment for sworn officers of the Cheyenne Police Department for fiscal year 2023 to 2024.
We'll send this one to the Finance Committee.
Number 9, ordinance on first reading, creating section 2.08.060, city employees and immediate family members, conflict of interest policy of chapter 2.08, city officers and employees generally of Title II, administration of personnel of the municipal code of the city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, requiring the promulgation of a conflict of interest policy for employees of the city of Cheyenne as specified and making a conforming amendment to section 2.52.010 regulations and benefits.
We'll send that one to the Public Services Committee.
Number 10, ordinance on first reading, creating a new section 15.50.070 neglected structure of chapter 15.50 historic design guideline of title 15 buildings and construction of the municipal code of the city of Cheyenne, Wyoming.
This one will also go to Public Services.
Number 12, resolution expressing the support of the governing body for the Board of Public Utilities application to the Wyoming State Loan and Investment Board for funding through the local government project ARPA grants program for the drinking water disinfection system conversion project in the amount of $4,463,000 and authorizing the Director of Board of Public Utilities to execute the application and all related documents.
All right, this is a grant application to the SLIB to replace our chlorine gas with sodium hyperchloride. Did I say that right? Process to make it a little bit safer and maybe save us some money. So is there anybody in the audience want to speak to that? You don't have to.
Sarah Bargson, Board of Public Utilities. I'm writing the grant, so I just wanted to be available if any questions by City Council.
Does anybody on the governing body want to ask questions of our staff? I think we just like the idea.
Okay, great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your support.
Anybody else in the audience? Hearing none. Mr. White.
Mr. Mayor, this item was reviewed under other items for the agenda at the July 17th, 2023 Finance Committee meeting. Therefore, provisions of Title II of City Code have been met. Mr. Mayor, the recommendation of the Finance Committee is to adopt, and I so move.
That was seconded by Mr. Escabel. Comments from members of the governing body? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed. That grant application is approved.
13, resolution authorizing the submission of a local government project ARPA grant application to the State Loan and Investment Board on behalf of the governing body for the city of Cheyenne for the purpose of land acquisition of blighted property on 15th Street for the development of low-income housing.
All right, this is another state land and investment ARPA grant application to help purchase 2.7 acres to partner with our Habitat for Humanities guys to build some affordable housing in our community. Are there any comments from members of the audience? Good afternoon, Dan.
Good afternoon, Mayor Collins, members of the board, members of the council. Dan Dorris, Executive Director for Habitat for Humanity of Laramie County. Very briefly, I will just say I support this resolution because, as you all know, housing is an issue in our town, and the acquisition of this property would add housing stock to our community and be a great community benefit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Hearing none, Mr. White.
Mr. Mayor, this item was reviewed under other items for the agenda at the July 17th, 2023 Finance Committee meeting. Therefore, provisions of Title II of City Code have been met, and the recommendation of the Finance Committee is to adopt, and I so move.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Aldridge. Any comments from members of the governing body? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The grant application is also approved.
Number 14, resolution whereby the governing body of the city of Cheyenne authorizes a special Cheyenne Downtown Development Authority district election to be held October 18th, 2023, as provided by Wyoming statute 15-9-217B, which upon affirmative majority vote of the qualified voters within the district will authorize a special assessment of 20 mills upon real property within the district, excluding real property used exclusively for residential purposes for a period of 4 years.
All right, this is an effort by the DDA, our non-residential property owners actually vote to tax themselves 20 mills. And we have to have a referendum on that every 4 years to decide if we're going to do it again. And so this is a resolution to get that process started. Is there anybody in the audience want to speak to that effort? All right, hearing none, Mr. White.
Mr. Mayor, this item was also reviewed under other items for the agenda at the July 17th, 2023 Finance Committee meeting. Therefore, provisions of Title II of City Code have been met. Recommendation of the Finance Committee is to adopt, and I so move.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Aldridge.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. White.
I move to amend by substitute dated July 20th, 2023. And I believe that substitute was received by all of our colleagues earlier, I think on Friday.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Aldridge. As I understand it, this substitute recognizes that the city pays for the administrative costs of running the DDA, and that the mill levy dollars that will be collected will all be invested back in the into the district.
That's correct.
Is there anybody in the audience want to speak to that amendment? All right, hearing none. Anybody on the governing body?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Aldridge.
Mayor Collins, through you, I just wanted to say I saw the front page article on the grants that the GDA was able to give, and I think it's a great way to kick off this season of mill levy election. Just an excellent reminder of what the DDA can do when it works with local business owners in order to promote our downtown area.
Anybody else in the governing body? All right, hearing none, we're on the substitute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Substitute is adopted. We're back on the main motion. Comments from members of the governing body. Mr. Laybourne.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a tight timeline. I think we're going to have to tell our story so that the board members of the DDA, who often have different interests and sometimes authority that is unrecognized as yet, but we're going to be telling the story and convincing our fellow downtown property owners that the wave that we're riding on is going to be sustained, and that we are going to be able to really incorporate the items on the west side and south side of 15th Street that are really going to take some attention and effort. So this is coming at the proper time, and I look forward to working on that campaign. Thank you.
Anybody else in the governing body? All right, back on the main motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? This ordinance or resolution is adopted as amended.
Next item is 19B, intergovernmental agreement between the city of Cheyenne and Laramie County School District Number 1 concerning joint use of facilities.
All right, this is an agreement between Laramie County School District Number 1 and the city of Cheyenne to share our taxpayer funded facilities so that both of our programs can flourish. Is there anybody in the audience who want to speak to that? All right, hearing none. Mr. White,
Mr. Mayor, the recommendation of the Finance Committee is to approve, and I so move.
seconded by Dr. Aldridge.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. White,
I move to amend by substitute dated July 14th, 2023.
seconded by Dr. Aldridge. We have an amendment that changes the termination. There was 2 different dates in this agreement, and so we settled on a 6-month termination clause. And so that's just to be consistent through the contract. Is there anybody in the audience want to speak to that? How about from the governing body? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The substitute is adopted. We're back on the main motion. Comments from the governing body? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The intergovernmental agreement is approved as amended.
Next item is 20B, consideration of bid number E-28-23 for the compost facility waste hauling project, solid waste fund.
All right. Is there anybody in the audience who want to speak to this item? As I understand the motion before us, it is to hire a company to help haul some of the burnt up compost that was left from a fire we recently had and bring back some soil from the dump so that we can make some more compost. Hearing none from the audience, how about from the governing body?
I mean, I wanted this poll because I did want to find out why and where we were hauling compost. So if your explanation is accurate that it's from the fire we experienced.
Mr. LeBoy, do you want to answer that question, sir?
I appreciate it.
Craig Lloyd, Public Works. Yes. Some of this is from our unfortunate fire that we had last year. We can't turn that into compost and it's been building up. It needs to be moved out. So we'll haul that to the landfill and put it in our topsoil piles, as well as some of the pre-mix. We need to do that according to our permit. It's looking into the future. When we go to close that landfill, we need to have that much topsoil to be able to cover it. We're kind of stored out there on topsoil. And then some of the soil that's coming back is to help have some on sites and some other small fires, which rarely happen anyways, but we'd rather have it on site than try to haul it at 2 in the morning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. LeBoy. Anybody else? Any questions on this item? I think we need a motion.
We do need a motion,
Let's do
Mr.
that.
Mayor. Mr. Mayor, the recommendation of the Finance Committee is to accept the bid from Pine Bluffs Gravel and Excavating, Pine Bluffs, Wyoming, in an amount not to exceed $112,900, and I would so move.
Seconded by Mr. Escabel. Any other comments from members of the governing body? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The bid is accepted. Next step.
Next time is 21A, appointments of J.C. Manilow to the Public Transit Board and Justin Huntley to the Housing and Community Development Advisory Council.
All right, mayors don't get to vote on appointments, so I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Mr. Seagrave, followed by Dr. Aldridge. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Those appointments are approved. Do we have-
Voucher report.
do we have anybody here that wants to speak to the vouchers, either the audience or the governing body? Okay, next item, revenue report. Anybody want to speak to that? Government? Nobody? Okay, next item, please.
Other business.
Anybody in the audience here to speak to us under other business? All right, hearing none, how about from the governing body? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Maybe we should have noon meetings all the time. To have noon meetings for the rest of us.